Hi, welcome to The Wine Glass, and today I want to have a serious conversation with you. Today we're going to be talking about the West Coast fires. If you aren't aware of what's going on, in the west coast of the United States there's a huge fire that's spanning from the top of Washington all the way south to the tip of California. And one of the hardest hit areas is going to be the heart of wine country in California, Napa and Sonoma counties. And the fire that's devastating this area right now is going to be called the Glass Fire. Now, many businesses, homes, restaurants, and wineries have reported damage due to these fires, and some of those wineries are going to be Chateau Boswell, Fairwinds Estates, and Sterling Vineyards. And unfortunately, in Oregon State, Simple Machine has completely burnt down. Everything from their facilities to their inventory to their equipment, their tasting room, everything has burnt down. Not a single bottle of wine has been left behind in that fire. Now, 7.6 million acres have been damaged in this fire. And just to give you an idea, it costs $40,000 to replace these vines. $40,000 per acre. And 7.6 million acres have been damaged in this fire. For many small wineries and even large wineries, losing an entire year's worth of grapes is absolutely devastating. And if you were lucky enough that your winery and your vines didn't burn, scorch, or dry out, you now run the risk of smoke taint. And what smoke taint is a compound that creates in the grapes. So when you burn wood, there is an aroma compound called volatile phenols that is created. And it's not something that just gets on the skin and you can wash off. It penetrates the skin and it rapidly starts to bond with the sugars in the grapes, and it creates glycidials. And you can't really taste it or smell it when it's in the grape. However, when you start going through the fermentation process, the acidity in the wine starts to break down those bonds and it becomes a volatile phenol once again. Now, you can taste it in the wine, and the thing is that it's not the same kind of smokiness that you get from your barrels when you age them in a barrel. It's completely different, and many people say that you can tell the difference between smokiness that's meant to be there and smoke taint. Now, some people have described it as licking a wet ashtray, and that has been probably the best descriptor I've been able to find. I've never had to try smoke taint, I've never experienced it, so the best descriptor I can give is what I was able to find in my research, which is licking a wet ashtray. So what are the winemakers that were lucky enough to still have their grapes? What are they doing in order to be able to put out a vintage this year? Now, many people due to the fires thought that 2020 was just not going to have a vintage, that this year was just going to be skipped and we were just going to move on to the next year. Thankfully, some of the wineries still had their grapes intact, so they have been doing multiple different processes to try and keep their grapes alive. And some of the things that they're doing to see if they have smoke taint is kind of revolutionary. They're sending their grapes to laboratories to check and see if any of those compounds are already in grapes. They're doing something called micro-fermentation, in which they get a very small batch of grapes, they ferment it, and then they check within the laboratory to see if any of those volatile phenols have been released. And if there are, they know that those grapes have had smoke taint, but if there's not, then they know that they can still produce from those grapes. A lot of winemakers are also finning with activated charcoal, which helps kind of break down those compounds. However, it does affect the flavors and the aromas that you're going to get in the wine. It kind of lessens them. So that's a bit of an unfortunate side effect with using the activated charcoal for finning. Now, so many people have been affected with these fires, and down below in my description I'm going to put some links to some articles if you'd like to read up some more, and some links in where if you would like to help out where you can, some resources and where you can do the best that you can do if you would like to help out. For all of the winemakers who have lost so much in this fire, we stand with you and we are ready for when you put out your next vintage. For all those who were lucky enough to keep your grapes, we are excited to see your 2020 harvest and see it come to fruition. For all of those who have been affected with this fire, we are doing everything that we can to help and support you. And we hope that this doesn't break you guys. You guys are much stronger than this, and we will move through this, and we will once again be strong as ever. I also want to take this moment to mourn the loss of all the people who have died in this fire, all the wildlife that has died in the fire, and thank you so much to all the firefighters, the first responders, all the at-home people who are stepping up to volunteer and help out their community as much as they can. You guys are absolute heroes, especially to do all this during a pandemic. Thank you so much for everything that you are doing to try and curb this fire. So thank you again to the firefighters and first responders, and to those who have lost your lives. You are not forgotten. So I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. Once again, down below in the description, I'm going to put a bunch of resources and some articles if you want to read up on it. Please, please, please do not play with fire, especially outdoors. It is such a dangerous thing, and it can cause such a horrific damage and atrocity in the country. So please don't play with fire. And please remember to drink responsibly, and happy drinking, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.